Terramana tequila at the time. But yeah, no, you had mentioned it. We're getting into the Falls
Hey,
Count
Jeff Hardy
Anywhere.
could be special guest referee.
There you go. Universal Championship match. The Fiend Bray Wyatt defeating Seth Rollins in what probably surprised a lot of people after the last run at Hell in a Cell. But this was a pretty solid match. The typical Seth Rollins tries to do everything in his power to keep the Fiend down. He even got to hit him with the sledgehammer a few times, which of course the Fiend no-sold. It ended when Seth Rollins power kicked him off the stage area and into an electrical equipment box, which exploded in a sparkler and some fire. And as Seth is trying to unbury this pile of wreckage, the Fiend stands up and puts him in the mandible claw, thusly winning the match. It was bathed in the red light again, but I do have to say the promo package leading into this match, I kind of have to eat my words at Hell in a Cell because it was so good. The promo was set to a choir of creepy children singing "Oh Dear, What Can the Matter Be?" as Seth Rollins repeatedly crushes and tries to defeat Bray Wyatt with his various means in the Hell in a Cell, and he keeps popping up. It just felt so good. And so I'm going to say that was worth it for this. Although, why would you do this for Saudi Arabia? I guess it makes sense because you're having 2 pay-per-views in a month. But, no, the promo package more than made up for that. The match was solid, and The Fiend is your new Universal Championship, and he's bringing it to SmackDown? So, I would assume Brock is probably going to Raw then, or this is going to be a very short reign. One or the other.
Probably a short reign, I'm assuming, which is sad, but that's what we've come to expect from WWE and Bray.
And I was a fool once again. I didn't pick Bray here, and it was fucking Halloween. It should have been... This pay-per-view ended with me getting 1 point.
Oh, that's the worst you've done all year, I'm pretty sure.
1-6 with Fat Mac getting almost every match right.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe not, but if you only got 1, like I only got 1 or 2 also, or 0, but 1-6, yeah, that was kind of a sweep.
I should have just said it's a Saudi show. It's gotta be across the board. The women's match sold this show 100%, and the Falls Gone Anywhere match made everything totally worth it. And if you're not going to watch the show, go find the promo package that they played before the match. It was delightful.
Yeah, I think I myself am going to go back and watch the women's match out of respect for the women.
I would just watch the last 3.
And
I think it's worth it.
I'm not going to watch the last 3. I have no reason to. I'll watch the women's match, and I might watch the promo package. But, yeah. That's it. But that's not bad. I'm very proud of WWE for putting on a spectacular show, especially at a time when we all know the Saudi Arabia shows, they don't have to put on a spectacular show. They're already paid for.
Yeah.
They can phone them in. They're not losing out on anything. They're losing out on their wrestlers showing up at SmackDown tonight, Paystee.
Yeah, they are.
So I'm going to bust out kind of the news article, and I'm going to let you get into some of the speculations and rumor and innuendo as you like to do, especially because you watched the show, so you know a few things that may or may not.
And it was fun because I had a keen eye, and I called all this shit out before any of this went down. So I feel
so we're moving into the
validated.
Saudi situation speculations here, Paystee, and to catch everybody up on what's going on here, WWE has been dealing with flight delays in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. That is likely to prevent a lot of SmackDown superstars and crew from making it to Buffalo, New York for tonight's live episode, which is going on as we record.
Yes, we counter-program like the best of them.
Damn right. PW Insider reports that the majority of those delayed leaving the Kingdom for SmackDown will not make the TV tapings and are now in hotels at Riyadh. WWE issued a statement this afternoon saying, quote, more than 175 Superstars production crew and employees boarded a 747 charter flight back to the United States on Thursday. After the door closed, due to several aircraft problems, including mechanical issues, all passengers sat on the tarmac for more than 6 hours.
In immense heat, from what I heard. The heat would not shut off, and that was one of the mechanical issues.
Oh, I could have used that today. With SmackDown set to emanate live from Buffalo, New York, several superstars felt so strongly that they arranged for their own separate charter in order to make it back to the U.S. for the show, which, folks, isn't true, but this is from the statement. Due to unforeseen issues, that charter will not land until after the live broadcast on Fox. Now, that's their issued statement. Brian Alvarez of Wrestling Observer noted on Wrestling Observer Live that there was at least some concern over the show not happening at all due to so many members of production being stuck in the Saudi Arabia, not just the wrestlers. Then F4W Online reports that there are people insisting there are no mechanical issues at all, but as of now, that should be taken strictly as a rumor. And it's possible that people on the ground in Saudi Arabia aren't getting all of the information, and they did not say what the issues might be if they aren't mechanical related, so they had nothing to counter that argument. Word is, though, that several WWE NXT superstars were being flown to Buffalo from Florida. No word yet, though. It probably is word because they're probably airing right now, but you and I are recording. So you and I have no word on what those NXT superstars will be doing or who is going to be brought in.
Yeah.
So it's just what it looks on the surface, Paystee. A little malfunction in the heater and
Well, I think there's more to it, and I think a lot of people think there's more to it. Granted, I mean, we did just have the first women's match in Saudi Arabia history, which probably rubbed a lot of people the wrong way over there.
Oh, I'm sure.
You would
they're going to let him drive again.
That there is speculation that Vince may have gotten into an argument with Saudi officials.
Yeah.
Which led to him getting his own charter with Hulk Hogan and Brock Lesnar and getting the fuck out of there. Probably why Brock's match was the first thing on the card.
Yeah, exactly.
But I did note a handful of things throughout the show where I was like, oh, is this going to cause issue? Is this going to cause issue? Let's start in order. And we start at, I guess it starts with the women's match.
Sure.
And it wasn't the women's match that had any issue. Like I said, that was a great match, and it was well received by everybody in the crowd. Post-match, Natalya and Lacey Evans were hugging each other in celebration and everything. They went out to the side of the ring and went up to an older Saudi Arabian woman. Natalya gave her a hug, and the woman, talked to her, gave her some kind words. Lacey Evans went in to hug the same woman, went to kiss her on the cheek. The woman turned her head as she was already starting to speak, and Lacey Evans planted her a kiss on the lips. The woman then pulled Lacey Evans' head pretty close to her and kept talking rapidly and quiet, and then planted a real kiss on Lacey Evans' lips, and Lacey immediately left and went backstage. Like, oh, shit. I don't know if that was a thing, but that's what I definitely read in the moment before I heard any of this.
Right.
Then, as we had talked about on our first Saudi show coverage, there was a list of terms you could not use in Saudi Arabia, King being one of them, but they announced King Corbin as King Corbin. So I don't know if that's a thing. Probably the least of the things I would assume.
Probably, but it had been brought up in previous Saudi shows that they were not allowed to use the king word because that is obviously a very respected and honored title over there.
Yeah. And then the Fiend carried his headlamp to the ring, which I immediately had assumed wouldn't be in Saudi Arabia at all.
Nah.
And not only did he
after
still carry the lamp to the ring, but the lamp itself was unlit. So, like, Bray is being very headstrong about this. It has to come with me. It's part of my gimmick. But I'll shut the light off and I'll carry it in the dark part of the lighting so barely anybody can see it at all.
Yeah. After the Jamal Khashoggi stuff, that's...
That's where Bray got the inspiration. What are you talking about?
Could have been.
But yeah, those things definitely stood out to me during the course of the show. And then with the aftermath and the end, I can only speculate. Probably the Lacey Evans thing would be the most controversial.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just as outsiders looking in, we obviously know very little about their rules, their customs, their feelings, any of that. But from the outside looking in, I would agree.
Yeah.
That
I don't know
like
much about their
major
customs,
thing.
but I think I can make a modest assumption of
Well,
what
remember,
it would be like over
there was a big deal when WWE just ran a commercial that showed women that weren't in full bodysuits. Just showing that commercial caused a big stir. Yep, yeah. Caused a big stir. This is interesting, as it easily could just... I mean, flights get delayed all the time. Malfunctions happen all the time. It easily could just be that. Or
Vince got out of there, though, man.
Well, and that's the other thing I did want to bring up, is that it said that certain wrestlers decided to charter their own flight. No, what happened was Vince... Well, Brock Lesnar took off right away on his own personal plane, which I guess we didn't mention that that Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, their chartered plane, because they don't fly with the schmucks either, actually had a malfunction. It blew a tire in, I want to say Ireland. It's somewhere. Let's say somewhere. And that Brock Lesnar's plane happened to be connecting through that same airport, and they hopped a ride with old Leslie. So Lesnar, Flair, and Hogan. I would have loved to have been in that
That
plane.
would have been a great flight.
God, that's got to be a party flight.
That's a whiskey drinking flight right there.
Ooh-wee. But so I'm assuming Flair, Hogan, Lesnar all took off, I'm sure, together. Vince McMahon took off with, his officials.
Bray Wyatt apparently made it out. Now, the only thing I hope that we're missing
Bray
on
Wyatt didn't
SmackDown
make
right
it
now...
out.
Oh, I heard he did.
Okay.
WWE had made an announcement that The Fiend would be at SmackDown tonight. So I don't know how true it is, but...
I guess, I don't know.
I want Brock Lesnar to show up on SmackDown and say, all these motherfuckers talk to me about being a part-timer. Well, I showed up tonight. Where the fuck are you?
Right? That would be awesome. That would just be awesome.
They're missing out on the ultimate opportunity if they don't.
It would be too... I mean, it writes itself. Perfectly it writes itself,
Yep. Unless the Saudi officials are setting all these wrestlers up to be killed. If that's the case, it's very tasteless and don't do it. We'll find out tomorrow, and you'll find out next week. I'm hoping it's just plane issues, but it sounds like there's a lot of shit at foot. And then you brought up the fact that Hogan and Flair's tire magically went out over Ireland. Like, to me, that could be set up ahead of time. You know what I mean?
It could. It's going quite the extra way. That's more storytelling than WWE does on their scripted shows.
They could learn a thing or two.
You just never know, really. If
it wasn't for Khashoggi, I wouldn't have the things to say that I have to say.
It's going to be a good update. It might be a boring update next week.
And you would think wrestling fans were probably the most outspoken in that whole ordeal. So for them to retaliate against wrestlers would also make sense.
Yeah, well, for sure.
And like I said, that list of things, that was like, why are you doing that? I wouldn't do that. I'd know better, and I don't know much about over there. So, yeah.
Yes, of course. Oh, brings us to a show that we're hoping is going to be a great show.